I'm Siyabonga Skosana. I live here in Maritzburg. I just did my own painting because I wanted to see if I'm good in painting, because it was my dream to paint. Another problem that I had at school when I was doing standard 8, there were a few people who were interested in art, so they said they cannot offer arts. Then I was only a person who was attending the art classes. Can do lino cuts, wood cuts, bent wood and panel, paintings, ceramic, sculpture. I can do a lot of things. I like all my work. I like all my work. At the moment, I'm doing paintings. I also like the bent wood and panel technique, because you don't have to buy paint and it's a cheap things. You just buy the super wood, paraffin, and bend it. Then you just scratch it with chisels. This painting actually it is about where it is depicting our life. You know, if you look at the rural area, you must see and you must feel this is a rural area. If you look at the town, you know, you must feel it. If you look at the township, you know, you must feel it. This is a township, you see.
The salient characteristic, you could say, of this man was a great humility. He lived in defiance of segregationist policies. He lived a lot with his white friend and patron, Dr. Wolfgang Bodenstein. Started off in the 1950s with scenes on kists, which were evocative of a very wholesome, healthy sort of past. Looking at the past in view of capturing that to gain strength for a future. He was a wood expert. His preferred medium were South African hardwoods, and those he used most of all in his sculptures. And it was one reason why he was called to represent South Africa in Paris in 1977 at an exhibition called Man and Wood. And so Zondi did that in landscapes in the 50s, but then he started focusing on his people. He never through his education took off and wanted to become something elite. He always stayed with, as he said, his people. And I think this makes him less vulnerable to being accused of not legitimately speaking for his people.
Gerard Biongo is also as one of the early black artists to work as a professional artist. So he was not doing it as a hobby. For him, this was work. Mostly his work was about was illustrating history in terms of how people were affected by things like urbanization and how people have moved away from their culture. But mostly they were all about research, ethnographic research. And then he also got commissions from people like Kelly Campbell and the Payne brothers, who also commissioned him to do more work illustrating the effects of urbanization on African people and the traditional dress codes in terms of status, the hairdos, scarification marks, and then how the land was used by different people and for various reasons.
Chicken Man worked for Clover Dairies, and when he was boarded, because he was an epileptic, he came and performed in front of the Tatham Art. And he had this very weird performance where he had a ghetto blaster, he carried things behind him, he trailed little things on wheels. And what we have here is I think a bird and a dog and a tractor, but he would sort of make them go behind him. He covered them with goat skin, things from wire and so on. He was such a character, dug into dustbins and got false hair and things out, and adorned himself and performed with his artworks. The other thing that he did was to make road signs. He was fascinated by the learner driver's license book. Although he was illiterate, he made signs. He didn't always know what he was writing, so he would cut them off in strange places. And this stirred quite a debate in the art world, because people were saying, is he an artist or isn't he? And is it art or craft? How much was his intention? So when there was a huge exhibition in Johannesburg at that time, they invited him there, and they also asked him to design the poster for the exhibition, which was one of his signs. And he became quite well known at that time overseas.